Honorable Speaker, it is really very unfortunate that government employees can just dip their hands into the coffers of the nation from 2007 up till now. This list we are holding now has 31 point some million as government impress, not retired. Very unfortunate. For 6 good years, and government cannot do anything about it to recover it. The people who pocketed this money, some of them are with us here. The highest is in millions, 1 point something million. And we are not serious. This government must show financial discipline for us to have progress. You cannot allow 31.2 some millions in people's pocket and you have done nothing absolutely. That is very unfortunate. Honorable Speaker, the economic presence in this country was dictated by a circumstance in 2016. But I do not think we are in the same circumstances now. That whole arrangement should be revisited. This government should revisit that. This is a sovereign country. If the circumstances dictate that we bring in foreign troops in our soil, it's understandable. After 6, 7 years, the situation has changed. Government needs to revisit that. Honorable Speaker, house rent is an issue in this country. The way and manner that landlords are taking monies from people is just intolerable, and government needs to do something about it. In this connection, I posed a question: what is government planning to look at the mode of payment to regulate rent in this country? A good number of us are renting, and the landlords keep increasing their rents at any point in time. This Rent Act of 2014 is not commensurable to what is happening now. If we want our electorates to have a better way of living, we need to revisit this act. I, for one, am not saying that landlords should not offer this service. The services that they are offering is really very good and well appreciated. But those of us who are paying rent also need to be considered. Therefore, there is a gap, and it is the responsibility of the government of the day to look at these gaps and regulate it. That's all we are asking, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if we come to pensioners, we know when you are pensioned at a certain grade, your benefit is limited to that. And now what is happening to some of our very hard-working civil servants for 30, 20, 40 years ago? Today what they are earning as pensions is less, some are $1,000, some are $500. What can that do for anybody now? The current situation demands that we revisit that and at least have regard for people who have fought for this country. The time they got retired, they are retired, their salaries were very low. So as a result, their income is next to nothing. So we need to look at that, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, national documents are very important, more so the passports. It is the only national document, as far as I know, I stand to be corrected, that is not decentralized. People from far regions like URR would have to pay all the way to Banjul to get a passport. Those in the Badibus, those in the Kiangs, don't do the same thing. It's only the few who are around the greater Banjul area that have the privilege of just walking into the offices and acquire this very important document. Government should think of decentralizing passports so that it can be accessed by Gambians that are eligible. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, If we look at people's right, today you go to some of our detention centers, particularly prisons. We have only 3 prisons here. You find people who are detained and their cases are dragging. The Minister of Justice are responsible of the congestion in our prisons. At one point in time, we have 180 detainees at Mile 2 prison wings, remand wings, under horrible conditions. They are congested there. Justice Ministry should do something about that to decongest our remand prisons. You go to Janjambure, you have at a time in point 30 of them. And some of these people, Honorable Speaker, have been in these conditions ranging from 2 years to 14 good years on the remand. You don't know your fate. 14 good years. The longest person that is in our remand is in his 14th year. The case is not concluded. What kind of a republic are we in? What is the Minister of Justice doing? I called the attention of the Vice President to call the attention of the local Minister of Justice to look into cases like that, particularly those from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 years. Justice delay is justice denied. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when we come to corruption, it's everywhere in the Gambia. Corruption is everywhere. And this government is enabling corruption in this country. Because if you don't take actions on people who just take government properties, you are contributing to corruption. So they are aiding and abetting corruption. This government needs to change their way of movements. Because we are very poor in terms of resources. Honorable Speaker, filling planes with delegates up to 40, 50, like the current trip to UN by the head of state, with 5 cabinet ministers, lots of party rank and files. What are their connections? What are they doing there as far as that conference is concerned? Chartering planes. I, for one, praised President Barrow on one of his missions where he traveled by commercial aircraft. That's commendable. I thought he was going to use the same trend. But that is just a showcase. It's not something that is real. Otherwise, he would have continued traveling with commercial vehicles, knowing the state of this country economically. If we want to move this country forward, we have to limit the visits, also downsize the delegations. That's the only way we can make out. Otherwise, we have little resources and it will all be wasted on hotels and travels and accommodations when the country is crying. Every member that stood here is complaining of electricity, road, lack of water. These are things that we are, our police, even uniforms, is a problem for them. We need to look at all those things if we want to move this country to where we want to have it, and where we want to have this country is a desirable place. Honorable Speaker,
you see, you've spent your time well.